Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann, and I show men and women how they can lead healthy, happy, sustainable lives. And I'm really delighted because today I'm joined by, I've got to get this right, Oyedunmola Oyeleke. Was that pretty good?
Yes, you did try. You did good.
Great to see you. So, for those of you that don't yet know this lovely lady, she's actually a culture transformation specialist. Now, I wasn't completely sure what that is, so we'll find out that a bit later on. But I think actually it'd be really great to start with your upbringing. I know that you come from Nigeria originally, don't you?
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
how about you tell us your story?
Oh, wonderful. Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. And my name is Oyedunmola Teresa Oyeleke. Most people, call me Teresa or Dumola, whichever, is easy for you to pronounce. But I don't have any, preference. Either is okay with me. So I was born in Lagos, Nigeria. I grew up in a big family. And, I did my elementary school, which some people regard as primary school. And I did my secondary school and also partly of my university in Nigeria before I migrated to Canada. So that's pretty much a little about my upbringing.
So, I'm going to call you Teresa because that's much, much easier if you're all right with that. So, what age were you when you moved to Canada, and what had your family move?
So I got an opportunity to come to Canada to work and then school later. And I moved at the age of 19. So yes, 19 going 20. So that was when I moved to Canada.
Was that a difficult thing? Did you find that challenging?
Oh yes, it was challenging. Actually, for me as a young person, I was really close to my family because I grew up in a family where we're also very close. I have elder brother, I have elder sister. So I was pretty much the second to the last. So you can imagine the baby of the house. So that, family separation was very was I was excited to move, but I didn't, have an idea of how, emotionally, mentally, physically it would affect me because of that separation. And also, um, when I moved, I felt so homesick. Like I have never felt so homesick in my life because, though, you know, growing up with my family, I went to boarding house for 6 years. And you can imagine when you go to boarding school, you do have that time of separation from your family during the school year. But with this, I know that, I was starting a new, like it was a new beginning for me, but at the same time, coming into a new culture, into a new environment, into a new system. And when it actually dawned on me that, I'm now away from home, it was pretty hard on me. So it took me almost, I would say, months or even years before I actually acclimatized mentally and emotionally that, okay, I'm in a new place. I have to make the best out of it. It's not just to survive, but just, to make the best out of it, make a future for myself. And more importantly, how can I be an impact? Because I'm now in a new society, I cannot just, be just floating. However, I just, had a rethink or I had a readjustment, mental readjustment when I accepted it. And yeah, things changed for me from that time. So yeah, it was really hard. And also I felt lonely as well. I had times where, I missed my mom's cookie. I had times I just missed my siblings because, they were pretty much like my closest friends. Um, yeah, so those were the things I went through after I moved to Canada.
Wow, such a wrench and such a huge kind of culture change. Obviously, that's what you're all about now. Did your parents actually teach you about inclusivity?
Yes, my parents were amazing models. So in Nigeria, one of the amazing, unique quality about culture in Nigeria is there are different ethnic, cultural or we use the word tribal. So my parents were people who were very inclusive. So most of our family friends were not people of the same tribe. You know, my parents exposed me and my siblings that, you know, you can love, accept, respect, you know, and treat people irrespective, you know, of what tribe or, you know, what religion or what ethnicity they represent, because, you know, diversity in having relationships, you know, can only make, you know, your own life richer as a person. So I could, you know, fondly remember most of our family travelings, most of the family occasions that we go for, and even like just, you know, general outing, it's always to go and see someone who you know, by the time my parents introduce and share a little bit about this person, even before we go or after we get there, I'm just like, oh wow, this person is not the same, you know, tribe or religion and everything. But my parents were so loving, so open arms. And growing up, sometimes I was just like, I look at them very strange and like, why are you so loving and accepting of everyone? But I didn't know they were actually setting the foundation for my future, and now also how I get to interact with people, embrace people for who they are, you know, having that lens of seeing people that they matter, irrespective of who and what, you know, they choose to believe in or stand on, or, you know, where they come from. So it was really amazing foundational. It was really amazing foundation for me that my parents actually set, you know, that exemplary model. Because now I can say, you know, who I am has definitely been shaped, you know, by, you know, what my parents had really modeled in their relationship interactions with people, and how, you know, they embraced everyone. So I would just say a big thank you. I tell them thank you, as because I appreciate it. So many things, you know, that my parents taught me, like, you know, greeting people, treating people with respect, you know, make sure that, you know, you try to understand people, empathy, kindness. Sometimes I was just like, why are these people just so kind and so if you witness some of those things that I'm saying, you would have a better picture. But my parents are the most wonderful people I've ever met. Like I tell them now, like I'm like, before I didn't even grasp it, but now I truly appreciate them for modeling that, because, you know, as much as the world we're in, there's so much there's so much going on, right? But one thing that they taught us, myself and my siblings, is to try to focus on the good, focus on the what is going well, and try to make the best out of what is going well, right? So it's amazing, and I'm really thankful to God for wonderful parents, basically, because they really set good values, standards, and principles. And yeah, so that's it's about, you know, my parents influencing
Wow.
inclusivity. Yeah.
Incredible role models. Oh my goodness. Were there times though, Tracy, where you actually felt like you weren't included? Have you
Oh yeah.
experienced that?
So do you want me to share when I was back home or while I'm here in Canada?
Either, whatever,
Okay.
whatever you'd like to share.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So when I was back home, one of the experiences that I have is that, you know, many a times as a young person, you're trying to find your identity. You're trying to understand who you are. You know, you're in this stage where you're developmental, your sense of belonging is just trying to form as a person, and you're trying to find your feet, you know, not just within your family and also in the community. So I've had times where, because of my upbringing, as I was about to finish high school, I found out that, you know, my interests were like I was when I started maturing more in my teenage years, I don't really like to party. because one, I don't want to get in trouble. And two, I was just like, it's very tiresome. So that part of me, because the high school I went to were really influenced with etiquette, as to, the person you choose to become is going to transcend to who you grow into. So it was more or less like, shared with us that the choices you make today can impact, where you see yourself going in the future. So you can imagine having myself, trying to process that. And whenever I have to make decisions, I have to weigh it. So in the aspect of, okay, not wanting to party, not wanting to get in trouble with my parents, though I have friends who are like, oh, let's go to parties, let's, sneak out and let's go do stuff and let's go do that. And I'm just like, no, I have my parents to answer to. I have older siblings to answer to. So then, most of my friends are like, most young people just want to play. They want to have fun. It's like, why are you choosing not to do this? Everybody just want to try it out. Like there is this, excitement to risk things. So I find myself like, okay, you know what? I don't want to be part of this. So that definitely put me in a place where, I didn't feel I belong amongst most of my friends, because I was, no, I want to be cool, but I'm not going the parts that they are going through. So you can imagine when, we meet and just like, oh, I'm not going to share this with you. I'm not going to bother to tell you this. And so it was really hard for me because, friendships are very important, because even in spite of trying to get in trouble, it's still good to have friends around you. So most times, thank God for my siblings, and thank God for some of, my cousins as well, who usually come around. And, so that friendship was, I still had that relationships that was helping me or supporting me as I was developing. So that was one of the areas or time that I felt like, okay, I didn't fit in because, I was not wanting to do some of the things. I was not really going crazy as to what most teenage or, developing young youths want to try out. So that was one aspect. When I came to Canada, another, when I initially came, I never saw myself as, different in terms of maybe the way I talk, maybe the way I look in terms of my skin pigmentation. When it came to, what my abilities are, I never saw myself as different. However, one of the culture shocks I had when I came to Canada was, when I had to go to the store, when I started school, or when I started working, there were times where it was so evident that, I had someone is like, oh, I can hear what you're saying. Or even the fact that, I'm being looked at in a very strange way, and I'm being asked questions as to how come you could speak English, how come, you speak English so well. And I'm just, for me, it took me aback because I'm just like growing up, my parents exposed us to like whatever the skin color, because even in my growing up, I've had opportunity to meet people who are Caucasians, right? From different part of the world. Even in Nigeria, my parents exposed us. We have people, family, friends, and places that we go to, and my parents make sure we had interactions with them. So for me, I see people as people. I never saw any difference. So having to just assimilate that, oh wow, someone finds you different, someone is questioning how you can speak English, and someone is like, why is it that you are able to relate and all of those other things. So for me, it was more or less like, wow, this is reality that people don't actually see themselves as, don't see from the lens as you are a person, and we're all equal, right? And so that was one. Another incident when I started working, because I was just new in the culture. I worked with a company which I was a consultant, And, whenever I go to most of the clients' house, I've had situations where some people are like, oh, we don't want her. So at first I thought I was doing a bad job, but my supervisors, like, you're one of our best consultants, like you're pretty much one of our top of performers. However, it's just you as a person. So for me, I was just like, what? This is like, you know, 20th century or 21st century. Why should I why should my skin pigmentation or whatsoever the reasons that they have with me be why I should be denied, the opportunity to do my job or whatever else, right? So those were some life-changing moments for me that I had to sit down and just, really think on, okay, you know what? You would get through this and, just take one day at a time. So whenever I'm faced with any kind of situations as such, I just try to deal with it in a calm manner. I don't, not to overreact and just, you know, deal with it calmly and keep on going. So because you're still human, some things get to you. And even the days that you're not even in a very good mood and all of that, but still, I just had to um, be strong for myself and just learn, to stay calm and not just, react or respond. But more or less just, think through how I'm going to respond and just, and just be the bigger person. So most times I had to be a bigger person in most cases and just, keep it moving. But it did hurt, right? Because I'm still human. But nonetheless, it's helped me as a person to pursue my passion on, understanding culture, going back to school to really, see how can I be an impact? How can I be a voice, in my time, in my generation? And also just know how to, relate with people better, just even for myself, right? So I've had time, I have several personal development, I've had to put myself out there in terms of just like, going for seminars, occasions, just because, it's not that, oh, I'm looking for validation, but more or less like, if you're not out, you know, if you're not engaging, how will I want to understand? How can I better understand people and my society or even make a difference? And I've had situations by, by going for occasions, events, by meeting people and engaging, I've been able to, educate some people. I've been able to share things and we've been able to reason on a different, perspective, and also the willingness to, ask questions as to, okay, can I understand this? I don't understand that. And it's been vice versa. So that has really helped me and shaped me to be more, comfortable and just, be continue to grow to be a better me, basically. So
What would you say is the impact of a lack of inclusion on individuals?
can you please repeat that question again?
What do you think is the impact of that lack of inclusion for individuals? You've spoken about your own experience, but clearly you work with people who feel excluded or they don't feel
Mhm.
included. So what would you say generally are the, is the impact of that kind of situation?
Well, the impact of lack of inclusion, one of the things that I would say it causes is segregates people from each other, because then you see some people as them and us, and that should not be. I've had conversations with people and they're like, oh, them and us. I'm like, who is them? Who is us? I'm lost. So, but it's not funny. That's some people's reality because of some of the experiences. Unlike me, I was able to rise up, bounce up, and keep it going, but some people have not been able to. So that segregation is not good because, you would have built a relationship with someone, right? You would have like, lack of like missed opportunities as well. That's one of the impacts of lack of inclusion. And also the opportunity to even create something together, and also the opportunity to probably educate each other, that opportunity is lost because there's that lack of inclusion. Because when there's the opportunity to engage, then both parties that have different views or different ways are able to ask each other and understand each other. And also, I feel like another one is, that sense of lack of a sense of belonging, because when you feel that you're not included in a space, right? You won't feel you belong. And I've, like I said, the them and us is one of the commonality I've had people share with me, and that is not good, referring to some people as them and some other people as us because of lack of inclusion. So that, I would say, it's one of the major impacts, and it just affects the growth and the productivity of a community, of a society, right? Because then, like I said, the opportunity to innovate, create, and build together, right, and enrich each other's life. Because people always think like, oh, maybe inclusion is all about maybe just work, or maybe it's just all about what you can get from each other. Life is not all about that, right? So, but it's so unfortunate that that's where things are in our world in general or globally. But hope things will change as with the movement of inclusion being very being an essential in our society, in our community, and in our world at large. But hopefully things will change
Yeah,
as time
absolutely.
goes on.
Yeah, and we all have a desire to belong, don't we? We all want to belong, and we all have a need for community as well. And I guess if there is a lack of diversity and inclusivity in a company,
Mhm.
is that going to lead to well, people not working so hard, not feeling like they, um, if they don't feel valued, then they're not going to produce the work, and so at the bottom line may be a lack of profit. Is that right?
Absolutely. Because you know what, when you have demotivated or unmotivated employees or team members or management, it's gonna definitely affect the profit. There's a statistics right now that says globally, well, let's say I'm trying to remember. So I know in Canada, organizations, businesses annually they lose, over 12 billion dollars because of lack of motivation from employees, because people slack at their job, or people are pretty much like, okay, i'm I'm just here because they have a goal to move on somewhere else. So you can imagine someone coming to work with that kind of mindset. They are probably not going to do the most that they would do because their mind is not in it. And as humans, when our mind is not in whatever we're doing, 100% output, it's going to be less. You can attain that no matter how maybe you're so routine with the task. You're not going to be able to perform 100%. So, and even in the US, the statistics shows that they are losing close to $1 trillion just because on the statistics of lack of motivation of employees in a company. So a lot of companies are losing a lot. And even aside from that, you also have issues in the company where people are always finding like, oh, the time that an employee is reporting an issue of someone did this, someone did that. Like, it's also time wasting, a productive time that would have been, used to make profit or to do something good. That time is also wasted. So those are the, intricacies of how most companies and organizations are losing so much profit, especially even in the area of their employees not being engaged and also unmotivated, and also, like you brought up, not feeling valued or appreciated, or they don't feel they belong. You know, yeah. I so that is what it is, and it's really unfortunate that
Yeah.
most companies are losing so much
But obviously, like
profit.
you say, it can be changed. So, in
Yeah.
a nutshell, how do you actually work with people, Teresa?
Oh, wonderful. So, how I work with people is I help people, either organizations or companies, with compliance. So that is with coaching, training, or consulting. So basically, I help them to develop initiatives and strategies that are applicable to their needs. That's what their organization or business needs, with areas that has to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So when we work through the strategies and initiatives, we create we create a plan, a tool that they can be empowered with, or they are empowered with, and they can implement to increase, their productivity, improve their culture, to better employee engagement and even customer engagement, right? Because people always think like, oh, diversity and inclusion is just within the organization. It's beyond the organization. It has to do with your clients. It has to do with your community at large, because companies that are found to be aware of the essentials of diversity and inclusion practices, and implementing those practices or goals, they are seen in their community because they are intentional. So when they know that, oh, something is happening here, they're aware, right? And they're making the effort to do something. So one of the things I do is to making sure that organizations are well equipped with easy to understand strategies with tools, and also to help them succeed, because at the end of the day, it's about the success of that business, of that organization, of that team, right? So that is how I help an organization.
Brilliant. Have you got any advice for people watching, Teresa?
Well, the advice I have for people watching is, change can start with you. The change you want to see can start with you. And, how do you start? I'm sure you would ask yourself that question. You can start, by, having conversations, with people that, areas you don't know anything about. You can start just like how I am myself and Julia having today. You can start by having those conversations. You can start by educating yourself, by reading something that can help you to enlighten or broaden what you don't know. And and one thing I would leave is that when we know better, we will do better, right? So and for me, I'm still growing, I'm still learning a lot, and I'm always excited to learn from people. So just keep an open mind, because it starts from the heart, right? So I just want to encourage anyone out there that change can start with you, and you can take that step in the different areas I've just suggested. So
Brilliant. What do you do when you're not working?
so when I'm not working, I love to read. Oh, I love to read. So most times I read, things just for relaxation. I read, educational. I like to read the news, for what's going on. I like to I like to create, actually. That's another part of me that, I find so much fun when I create something. I like to design some stuff. So
What have you
so
designed?
I love to what?
What have you designed?
Okay, so as it is right now, I also I'm an author, and so there's some, apart from the books I authored, I've also developed designed some journals, and some, notebooks, coloring books, and all of that. So it's just something that I found very relaxing, and also just, the ability to create something that someone else will be able to use that can help them. It's very exciting and fulfilling for me. So, and yeah, and also another thing I like to do is I love to help and listen to people. Like, when it comes to someone needing help, it's just something that I just love to do. And I find so much fulfillment in that when someone is feeling good and, feeling better, in any capacity that I'm able to help them. So I have some more other things I love to do, but that's pretty much in a nutshell, a
Wonderful.
summary of a little of some of the things I do when I'm not working.
So one final question, Teresa.
Yeah.
When you're no longer on this planet, how would you like to be remembered?
When I'm no longer in this planet, oh, that's a wonderful question. I want to be remembered as a voice of hope. I want to be remembered as someone that, you know, impacted someone's life through positive words, through my interaction with them. I want to be someone that was that social change catalyst, and within my community or anybody I've come in contact with. And also, I want to be remembered for the legacy that I left behind, which is, people, you know, getting to become better of themselves. Because one thing about me is that from family and the few people I have around me, I just always encourage them, to grow, to be better. Because when you're better, it's gonna transcend the ripple effects, spreads. So I want to be remembered as someone who left that legacy, for people to become better, in the different aspects of their lives. So
Wonderful. Teresa Oyeleke, thank you so very much for talking to us.
thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it. I feel so honored, and I truly appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful being here. Thank you for the opportunity.